In the search for the kidnappers of Mr. Don Tidey, the security forces have sealed off a 1 mile square area of woodland in which they think 2 or possibly 3 of the kidnappers are hiding. The area is about 2 miles from the scene of last Friday's shootout between the security forces and the kidnappers. Tommy Gorman has been following today's search.
There's new determination among search parties and at checkpoints here in South Leitrim tonight, after what could turn out to be a most important break. Scores of Gardaí troops have strengthened a security ring around wooded areas between Oglaigh and Dorada. Among them are the Army's hand-picked and specially trained units, the Rangers. The development during this, the 4th day of the search, came shortly after 1 o'clock. 2 and possibly 3 men were spotted moving through bushes and trees towards woodlands. Gardaí now hope they are pinned down in a 1 square mile area less than 2 miles from the scene of Friday's gun battle. The hideout was located in a small dense wood about 300 yards from a byroad 4 miles north of Balnamore. Even from a short distance it was extremely difficult to spot today and was obviously well chosen by the kidnappers. Between trees on a natural incline they had stretched polythene. More a makeshift tent than a dugout, it covered an area 15 feet by 4 feet and was meticulously disguised with straw, briars and brambles. The search party that found Don Tidey was fortunate and diligent. Private Patrick Kelly was fatally wounded very near the hideout. Garda recruit Gary Sheehan died in a clump of trees 20 yards away. Forensic and technical experts are continuing their searches around the hideout in a hunt for vital clues.
The President, the Taoiseach, several members of the government and the leader of the opposition, Mr. hEireann, were present today at the funerals of the young Garda recruit and the Army private killed in the rescue of the kidnapped Quinnsworth Executive Mr. Don Tidey on Friday afternoon. Private Kelly was laid to rest at Tubber near Moat this morning, while later this afternoon 23-year-old Garda recruit Gary Sheehan was buried in Carrickmacross. Thousands of people attended both funerals. Charlie Bird was in Moat for Private Kelly's funeral.
The funeral service for Private Kelly, the first member of the Army to be killed on active service here at home since the early 20s, took place this morning at St. Patrick's Church in Moat. The attendants included the President, Dr. Hillary, and the Fianna Fáil leader, Mr. hEireann. The Taoiseach, Dr. Fitzgerald, and most of his cabinet were also present. Private Kelly's coffin was draped in the tricolour with his beret placed on top. The chief celebrant at the Mass was the Bishop of Ardagh and Clonmacnoise, Dr. Colm O'Reilly. In his homily he spoke about the tragic events of last Friday.
How can it be that a man who was so involved in peacemaking in places notorious for their attentions should be at greater risk in a wood in County Leitrim? It is a sad comment in our country that peace should have become so difficult to maintain at home.
After the funeral mass, the remains of Private Kelly were carried from the church by his comrades. Outside, his widow, Katrina, was comforted by friends and relatives. 2 of his children, David, aged 9, and Michael, 6, were also present. Among the many other dignitaries was the British military attaché to Ireland, Brigadier Peter Robinson. The cortege then made its way to the little cemetery at Tubber, just about 3 miles from Moat, where colleagues of Private Kelly from the 6th Infantry Battalion stationed in Athlone formed a guard of honour. Then, under a cold grey sky and a biting wind, Private Kelly was accorded the final military honours. Many of his comrades...
The next clip on this video is taken from the news on the 16th of January 1986.
Africa, on the day thousands of whites are conscripted into the army. But first, the arrest in Amsterdam of 3 top IRA men who escaped from the Maze prison in September 1983. Janet.
One of the 3 is Brendan McFarlane. He was serving a 25-year jail sentence in the Maze for 5 murders, and he's wanted by Gardaí on suspicion of involvement in the Don Tidey kidnapping. Britain, meantime, has asked for McFarlane's extradition, and that of a second man, Gerald Kelly. It appears the security forces here were involved in the investigation which led to the arrests and to the discovery of a big arms smuggling operation. We've 2 reports first from our European correspondent, Eamon Lawler.
The police had been watching the flat in an Amsterdam suburb. When they went in shortly before 5 this morning, Brendan McFarlane and Gerard Kelly were sleeping there, as well as the third man arrested, also called Kelly according to the police, though not of the same family. Found in the flat was a high-powered pistol, ammunition, and various passports of different countries. Acting on the same information that led them to the flat, the police opened a transport container parked in another Amsterdam street. It contained 14 semi-automatic rifles, 2 pistols, 2 hand grenades, 70,000 rounds of ammunition, and 4 oil drums filled with nitrobenzene. The police say an extradition request has already been received from Britain, and that the first step towards extradition will be taken tomorrow when the 3 men appear before a public prosecutor in Amsterdam.
McFarlane is one of the most wanted men on both sides of the border, following his escape from the Maze prison and the kidnapping of Quinnsworth Executive Don Tidey. Aged 34, he comes from the Adorn area of Belfast. He was serving a life sentence with a recommended minimum of 25 years on charges connected with a gun and bomb attack on a public house in the Shankill Road area of Belfast in which 5 people died. He was reported to have masterminded the mass escape from the Maze in 1983. His name next cropped up in connection with the kidnapping 2 months later of Mr. Don Tidey, who was held by an IRA active service unit for a ransom of £5 million. However, it was a ransom that was never paid. The kidnappers' hideout in Ballinamore, County Leitrim, was found in a search by Gardaí and Army. Mr. Tidey was rescued, but 2 members of the security forces were shot dead by his captors. They were 23-year-old recruit Garda Gary Sheehan, who was unarmed, and 36-year-old Private Patrick Kelly, a soldier involved in the search. Shortly afterwards, it emerged that Gardaí believed 3 of the Maze escapers were involved in the kidnapping, including Brendan McFarlane. Garda sources confirmed tonight that they're still anxious to question McFarlane about the Tidey kidnapping and the murders. It's unlikely that extradition proceedings will be initiated by the authorities here. However, Gardaí will consider the possibility of sending someone over to Amsterdam to interview him. One of the 2 Kellys arrested is also wanted here, on a bench warrant issued by a court after he jumped bail in charges relating to a false passport. Tonight, Gardaí were delighted with the capture of the 3 men, especially McFarlane, and the seizure of the guns and ammunition, which they believe were destined for the north. I understand that the security forces here worked in cooperation with the Dutch and British in the investigation which led to the operation today in Amsterdam.
The IRA have said they planted the booby-trap bomb which killed an 18-year-old UDR private and seriously injured his girlfriend in County Tyrone last night. The killing has been condemned by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Peter Barry. And in Belfast, a British soldier was injured in a shooting incident. Michael Fisher reports.
Private Foster left his home at Gamble Park in Sparmount.
From 3 until 6 o'clock. Thelma Mansfield will be with you throughout the afternoon, and the lineup includes a Keep Fit programme, the start of the drama series Emmerdale Farm, and also programmes for children. Young Line brings you a special programme at 25 to 7 tomorrow on the International Special Olympics, which were held in Louisiana last July. Following that, you can see the first of a new series about lost kingdoms, exceptional people and exceptional societies. And another new series beginning at 8:05 is High Performance.